Today what I want to talk about is breakfast burritos. That's right. Huevos and chorizos. And frijoles. That is Mexican style breakfast burritos. The reason I know what a breakfast burrito, a Mexican breakfast burrito consists of is because I actually sold them for a while.
King of thrift, baby. I said adrift, baby. Floating down in H-Town on highways of twist, baby. I hit the toe.
Now there was a time, when the sellers were actually able to leave feedback for the buyers. Imagine that. A two-way rating system. What kind of sense does that make, someone can rate their transaction from their side as a buyer, but me on this side, I'm not able to rate my transaction as a seller. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you used to be able to leave feedback for the buyers. So, if you got a buyer who is some sort of crook, or, you get someone with 0 or maybe 1 feedback, and they come in and they're basically just trying to work the system. And trust me, guys, there's a lot of ways to work the system. Let's say that I ship you a shirt. He receives it. He's a little overweight, so puts the shirt on. So he puts it on, and he pulls a Chris Farley on it. I don't know if you've all seen the show, that movie with whatever the hell it is. Someone out there help me out. But the guy basically rips the shirt from top to bottom. Guess what? I'm paying for that. Right, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, I got this jacket and it's torn from top to bottom. This guy sold me a jacket that's ripped in two from top to bottom.
I talked to eBay. I proceed to go, because they've opened a case against me. And I teach you guys about cases. I've been a seller for over 10 years. I have immaculate feedback, 100% rating. I got pictures of the jacket showing, obviously, the jacket isn't ripped in two. And I'm not some sort of idiot that, between taking the pictures and hanging it in my warehouse, somehow ripped from top to bottom. Needless to say, man, long story short, of course, I had to pay that guy back. He sent me back a jacket, 22. What happened was I got V-ro'd. V-E-R-O. Look it up. I'll do some videos on it sometimes. But I got V-ro'd by some company. All it takes is for any company to say,
"Oh, this guy's selling counterfeit. That's not a real..."
Fill in the blank. Or, someone can say,
"Oh, this guy sold me a jacket ripped in two from top to bottom."
Well, what that is, item not as described. Item received, not as described. And you get enough of those as strikes on your account. You get those strikes, you get enough strikes, guess what? You're suspended. You are canceled. Your account is limited. And I've been limited. Man. Anyway, so what happened was, long story short, like I said, so I got slapped with a V-row. And then I think shortly thereafter, what happened was some duplicate listings of mine actually went on, and I don't sell duplicates. And they've got a big, no policy of duplicate listings, because it somehow jacks up the whole eBay marketplace in one way or another, causes, hellfire to rain down on its consumers apparently. But needless to say, they frown upon it. And like I pleaded with them and told this company, it's not my fault that duplicate listings are going on. I have absolutely no reason for listing a duplicate listing. All it does is piss my customers off, because they go in, they purchase something that's already sold. Like I try to explain to these people, I try to explain to this company, I have absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose by listing something as a duplicate, by listing something twice. Needless to say, they don't care. They could get two. So I can't list anything for I think it was 2 months or 3 months. Okay, so, you got to realize, people, at this point, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, over a decade, selling on the eBay system, I could do other things, obviously, but, it's like you show up for work one day, and instead of your boss saying, "Hey, good morning," your boss says,
"Hey, you're on suspension for a month."
And you're like, what did I do? It says,
"Our system said so."
So, needless to say, my account was canceled for about a month. It wasn't canceled, it was under some sort of suspension or something. But, so, what did I do? What would I do? I can't go a month without, making money. So, I did what any man in my situation would do. But that first week of selling breakfast burritos, it wasn't much. I can tell you that. It wasn't much. The following week, we were up $300-400. By the end of the third or fourth week, I think we had just cleared around almost $600, which wasn't too bad. We were done with our workday by 1 o'clock. We were finished. Workday was over. So it wasn't all bad. But the story. This is H-Town, and there are tons of factories out here. So what I went over to the factory portion of town and found a couple of nice sized factories. And what I did is I sort of scoped them out. I found out what time the guard came in, because these are gated. You know, these aren't open access. So I found out what time the guard came in, and I made sure that I got there before he did. So we were up at 3 a.m. We would crank up the music. You know, we would have, I'd be cooking, I don't know, 15 eggs at a time, in this big pot. I got chorizos going. We got refried beans cooking. I'm cooking, cubed potatoes. If anybody knows what those are, cubed potatoes. Potatoes. You gotta have those little tiny cubed potatoes. They're little tiny potatoes like this. They're little cubes. You need those for a good Mexican style burrito. We sold 2 for $3. Dos para tres. Sausage and eggs and refried beans. And this factory, just so happened, this factory was probably 90% Hispanics. And, most of these guys didn't speak English. So there was a communication gap that we had to overcome. And me personally, I sort of speak a little bit of Spanish. I can understand it. I can speak it enough to get by. My wife, however, knows nothing about it. She knows thank you and por favor, So I had to basically teach her, how to say what to say and, just these few key phrases. And, once she got them down, we were good to go. But I tell you what, man, that first morning was no pump. Let me tell you that. We got there, like I said, we get there, 3, 4 a.m. We come rolling up before the security guard does. And we sneak in there under cover of night like some Navy SEALs or something, and park, we sneak into this humongous parking lot, and we park, and there's no one there. And we wait. And, the guys start to show up one at a time. The guard shows up, and, he locks down the front gate. And then, then your employees start to show up one at a time. They start to come in one after the other. And as soon as the first one shows up, it's like, I look over at my wife and I say, okay, you want him or you want me to get him? What do you think she says? Of course.
You go get him.
So, of course, I have to go after them. And so I jump out of the car. I grab, two breakfast burritos, 4 in total, because they're 2 for $3. So I grab two packets and some salsa. And I run across this parking lot, in the dark. And I run up to this guy and I'm like, hey, and the guy turns around surprised. And I don't know if he was surprised because he had never seen me before or because I was just some dude out here in the darkness that had done crept up on him. But, I crept up and I surprised him. And, I told him, chorizos and huevos, breakfast burritos. And he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. It didn't take much after that, and then basically that's how it went. We'd hit one, I'd hit the next, she'd hit one, I hit the next. 2 roll up at once. I was like, okay, you get him, I'll get them, and we would catch them. I mean, we were out there chasing them down, catching them as they were on their way, into the factory. And we would get them beforehand. And, man, believe it or not, that's how we did it. What we would do is we would then, load up and, because we still have plenty of breakfast burritos left, we'd run across town to another area of town that I knew quite well. And we would just bounce from business to business to business. And I would just, how these businesses say no soliciting. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. Because, I would show up, we'd go into these businesses and I would let them know, hey, we got breakfast burritos here. We're moving into this area of town to offer our services to you. And, most people, we were pretty well received. Every so often we would get someone that, had a lot of questions.
Well, who are you with again, and where are y'all located out of, and who's you certified with?
By the time I started getting that many questions, I would just leave. I guess you don't want a burrito. Do you want a burrito or not? I ain't got time to answer your questions about how legal is this, where is this stuff being prepared and all this and that, which, me, I don't mess around. I was, of course I had a nice commercial kitchen that I made everything with, so this went on for a month, and, by the end of the month we were making good money. My wife had learned a pretty good amount of Spanish at that point, and she had lost her stage fright. She was no longer afraid, of, approaching strangers, which, was a really, really, really big deal for her. So it's chorizo, it's eggs, it's refried beans, potatoes, and cilantro. And then, pico de gallo on top of that. After we made those for a while, we moved into American style. Because if racism wasn't such a big deal, which I don't believe it is. I think it's just the media pushing that agenda, which we're not even going to go there. I'm not even going to get into that. But, it's like this. The white guys, they wanted American style. Like, no shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's
so racist.
They said you got American style. So, it didn't take me very long to realize, because I would say no, and they'd say, oh, I don't want that, because they don't want chorizo and eggs. They don't have a taste for it. They don't, it's a total different thing than what, just the regular old white dudes eat here in the South, and what we consider a breakfast burrito is eggs, cheese, bacon, and sausage. That's it. Egg, cheese, bacon, egg, cheese, sausage. And then you put some pico on it. Bam. American style. So we did egg, cheese, sausage. We started getting a lot of requests for bacon. And, that following week I had already made arrangements. We were going to throw bacon on the menu. About a month later, eBay opened my account again and freed us and allowed us to sell again. Woo, praise the Lord. And we're back out there making money. We have been every
Always a twist, baby. I hit the toll road. I'm looking for that gold, popping tags. Now it's time to take it home. Let's get it sold. I'm in the thrift game. No, I ain't about that fame. The record shops for 20 years in the game, man.